Barbie. It's a really good time to come talk about the movie today. You guys really excited? Oh, I can't wait. This is going to be a fun one for us to talk about tonight. And we're going to have a great time. I'm so looking forward to playing volleyball and going to the beach and having a sunshiny type of day. It is going to be so much fun. And we got a great crew to do this with. Of course, let's welcome first to the show, Amy Chandler. Welcome.
Hi, thanks. It's the best day ever.
Of course it is. And of course, Mr. Nick Fraser is here once again.
Hi, Ken.
Hi, Ken. And of course, we couldn't do the show with the man, the mustache and the beard. Mr. Mike Gordon is here.
Howdy, Barbie.
Hey, you ready?
You're not going to be able to keep that up. No, you should just stop right now. I know you can't keep that up for many more minutes. And to be honest with you, I couldn't keep that up.
My head
listening
would explode if I kept that going.
I think all our heads would explode. Yes.
But
but I give you an A for effort, sir.
No, I thought I
gave it that good Barbie try.
I tried, and I gave it a good try. And it was a cheer for the crowd. It was a cheer for everyone out there.
Sure.
And it's going to be so much fun to talk about this movie. They loved it. They really loved this. Who knew this was going to be the biggest movie of the summer? Woo-hoo. So, Mr. Mike, take it away.
Well, so far it's not quite that yet. Was an impressive weekend, and I think a lot of that is due to the excellent marketing strategy of Warner Brothers, but also Barbenheimer, this grassroots film buff, crazy, ridiculous thing that took over. I did of course, we did the Barbenheimer weekend. So we are reviewing both movies. This is don't do that. Don't do that. The first I'll go in, do podcasters go on strike? Is that the thing? Anyway, but the box office was really solid. It grossed 162 million in the United States and Canada, 182 worldwide. That another 182 in other territories. So that was a worldwide total of 344 million. That is huge, actually. It is set the record for a opening weekend in July of any film that's not a sequel, remake, or superhero property. And like I said, I do think that the Barbenheimer sort of wave that hit was pretty impressive. I think we've talked about that before. I don't want to get too much into it because we do want to review the movie, but how many here did the Barbenheimer weekend? I know that I did. Nick did. Okay,
all in one day.
All in one day.
Oh, wow.
Nick was the one who did it all in one day.
That's impressive. Can I ask which one you did first?
We had no choice. We were scheduled for Barbie first.
Okay. So that's interesting. And it'll be interesting to get your perspective based on that. But I mean, I think a lot of us had high hopes for this. When we talked about it in our summer preview, we all thought that this one, pardon the pun, had legs, right? We all thought that this one had the ability to go the distance when it came to the box office. It is a known property. The word of mouth seemed really interesting, good on it. The trailers seemed fun. It looked like it was going to be maybe that movie of the summer. And so far, I think it pretty much has. I think Tom Cruise is like kicking himself a little bit because he certainly got Barbenheimer this weekend. We'll see. What's really going to be interesting is the next weekend to see if it drops at all or if it's just a fad for the weekend. But in any case, Barbie did pretty well box office wise. But we're here to talk about how we felt about the movie. Amy, I want to start with you. Like, what was your thoughts going in? Were you a Barbie fan? Were you I don't know. Do they have a name for Barbie fans? Like, is it like a Barbie? I don't know what it would be.
I was a Barbie girl back in the day.
Barbie girl. Okay, we'll call
Barbie
it.
girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll take that. Barbie girl. So was this something you were really anticipating? What were your thoughts going into this movie?
Well, this movie, getting excited for it was actually like a slow burn for me. Like when I first heard, I think I first heard about the Barbie movie back when Amy Schumer was attached to be in it. And I thought that was an interesting idea. But at the same time, I was like, that just feels like Mattel trying to make money. So yeah, it might be an interesting take. But then, she left the project. We got Margot Robbie. And I'm like, okay, that's the obvious choice for Barbie. So I thought we backslid a little bit. But then I heard that Greta Gerwig was attached. And then this is when I started to get interested. But at that point, I was still just kind of interested. I mean, full disclosure, I planned on seeing Oppenheimer this weekend. I hadn't necessarily planned on seeing Barbie. But I got sucked into the marketing. I got sucked into the Kenergy of Ryan Gosling. I love Greta Gerwig. I was like, I thought actually this could be like the fun summer movie of 2023. So I was excited to see it.
Nice. I don't know what you guys experienced in the movie theater. Like I said, I saw it opening day on Thursday. I have never before seen so much pink in the theater. Like, I mean, there was a lot of women, girls, men wearing pink. It was quite something. And I will say too, one thing that I don't want to sound like I'm like shocked or anything, but I was very impressed the fact that I saw teenage girls, I saw women of all ages dressed in pink, excited to see this movie. And it was not just white women. It was not just, I mean, it was a diverse crowd of lots of different ethnicities represented in the theater that I was in. And I thought that's something you don't normally associate with Barbie, right? Like Barbie is this like perfect, pretty white girl that, that set the standard. And that's where they had a lot of criticisms have come. Now, I know that there's been other types of Barbies. And of course, in the movie, we see that a lot. By the way, we haven't mentioned it yet, but we are going to spoil this thing. So if you have not yet seen Barbie, if you have not had the Barbie experience yourself, go see the movie, come back and join us because we're going to try to dig a little deeper into some of the things that happen in this movie.
Spoilers, so be careful, folks.
Absolutely. So, Nick, what about you? What was your experience like? What drew you to go see this weekend? What drew you to go do the Barbenheimer experience in one day?
I am very much not the target audience for this movie. I remember being exposed to Barbie dolls as part of a psychological study when I was younger. That's a much longer story. If you want to hear, I'll tell you later.
Goodness gracious.
But of course, I'm not unaware of who Barbie is and what Barbie means to American kiddom. But my buddy, who's my partner in crime in Seattle Movie Geek, said, "No, we're doing this. Look, Barbenheimer, it's a thing. We've got to go do this. We haven't had a big movie event in a while. We have to go do this." And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, I'm digging the feeling of screw you, studio, for setting up a false dichotomy between two movies. I reject your counter programming and substitute my own double feature. And I kind of dug that. And my boy, he bought the tickets that we're going to go. It's like, okay, I guess we're going to do this then. And also, as with Amy, I thought, okay, Greta Gerwig, now I'm kind of interested. And she and Margot Robbie saying, this is a movie if you love Barbie. This is a movie if you hate Barbie. Thinking, okay. And then, I got the whole thing was, okay, she's been twice nominated for screenplays as well as nominated for director. Ryan Gosling looks like he's having fun. I'll give it a whirl. We'll see what happens. What I wasn't prepared for when we walked out of Barbie, I said to my buddy, I said, going into this thing, I wouldn't have said that I thought the more existential and philosophical movie of this double feature was going to be Barbie. And it's looking like it is. They've kind of raised the bar here.
Raised the Barbie.
Yeah, they've definitely raised the Barbie. Now, my audience was perhaps a little different than Amy's because I went to an over 21 only theater that serves alcohol. but now and
The best kind of theaters.
the audience was probably majority female, but not overwhelmingly female. My buddy and I were not the only two guys in the theater. I will go so far as to say my buddy and I weren't even the only two straight guys in the theater. There was a nice mix
Okay.
of people.
Okay. Interesting. Mike, I think we talked, like I said, I think we talked about it when we did our preview, but going into this, certainly from there, from that moment when we recorded to now, I mean, this whole movement of Barbie, Oppenheimer, etc. this weekend just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, right?
Of course.
And were your expectations bigger as well with that, along with that?
No, I tried going in for both movies with an open mind and everything. And it was interesting too, because with the films, each one had its own identity, its own feel. Yeah, I bought into the, Barbenheimer stuff, and I was going to have fun with it. And it was just, and it was neat to see everyone getting excited for both movies, because truthfully, not a lot of people were getting excited for movies this summer. And it was nice to see the movie theaters packed. It was great to go see Oppenheimer down in Florida. And it was interesting to see all the women wearing pink. It was great to see the little girls dressed up as Barbie, or as, and even holding this one little girl was holding her Barbies, like 4 of them. And it was great to see that, because that's the base audience for it. I'm not the base audience for it. And even this afternoon, I went to like a 4:00 showing of it, and the theater was packed for a Monday. And I was excited to see that. And it was great to see the movie theater with, all these people, because it's always, any movie you see is always better with a full house. And you got to see people laughing all at the right spots, and going at the right spots, and all that kind of stuff. And it was worth it to see it like that. And did the movie exceed my expectation? Of course it did. But I didn't go in with any expectations. I walked out smiling.
That's not a high bar.
No, not at all. But I enjoyed it. I think this is a great film for young girls, and to, boost their confidence, and to try to, have, girl power, and, showing that a girl can do anything. She could be president. She could be a Supreme Court justice. She can, be a doctor, or whatever she wants to be. And that's what I loved seeing. And it also showed how jaded the rest of the world is and everything. And that's one of the things I loved about this film. And having Greta part of this film, directing and writing it, I loved Lady Bird. I think Lady Bird was genius. And that's what drew me to the film mostly. If she wasn't attached to it, I probably would have skipped it, in all truth, because, I'm not a Barbie guy. So, type thing. So
I do want to mention, I know we're here to praise Barbie and not to bury Oppie, but the joining them together worked out well for both parties. People are talking about how Barbie won this. Well, Barbie won, but Barbie helped a lot, because Oppenheimer was projected at doing 30 million, and it did 80 million.
Yeah.
They both lifted each other up.
So they lifted each other up. Yeah, Barbie was
don't be an Oppie pooper.
No,
I'm not going to be an Oppie pooper, but Barbie was always going to win this because
absolutely
the demographic it's aimed at, the fact that it's a shorter runtime, the rating of the film. I'm not at all surprised that's what ended up happening.
It was so nice being out of the theater under 2 hours for once. It was
that's
so nice being out of the theater.
I'm going to say, all right, so obviously when the movie was first announced and everything like that, Barbie the movie, it's going to be just another toy tie-in franchise, Mattel, Warner Brothers, boom, 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 right? I do think it is kind of interesting, the counter programming, the somewhat spiteful counter programming, because Warner Brothers was like, hey, Nolan, you're not working for us anymore. Guess what? We're going to put a big movie. It's alongside yours. Have a nice day. And I think that Warner Brothers, Warner Brothers kind of is like, oh, damn, we miscalculated. But damn, that Nolan got us again. But as the movie came out, or that more and more information came out about the movie, Greta Gerwig, and I haven't seen her other work. I'm really curious to do so now. But I have not seen Greta's early work.
Yeah.
And the more I heard about her skill as a filmmaker, and the more I saw trailers for this, the 2001-ish trailer that they released a few months ago was awesome. They released some more, trailers as we got further along, and they just seem entertaining and fun. And I thought, I might have thought at the beginning of this, when it was announced, that, hey, I'm not the target audience for this. But after watching it, I'm like, I am the target audience for this. I am the target audience because I like fun, smart movies. I like fun, stylized, competent, well-acted, fun song, like sing and dance comedy movies. Like, everything to me worked on this level. I don't see any reason why this, screw target audiences. I think this is a audience, if you say oh, this movie's just for girls, no, it's not just for girls. Ken's story is really, really important to this movie. Not more important, but it is important to this movie as well. I think that's being kind of overlooked. Well, in some ways it's being overlooked, although certainly Ryan's getting a lot of attention, especially even award talk already for him. And that song, I'm Just a Ken, is just one of the best songs that has been out there. Anyway, let's get into more specifics. Amy, what did you like about the movie? Tell us, overall what you liked. If you want to get more specific, please do so as well.
Oh, well, one of the first things I liked about it was that it was so stylized. I loved that they didn't phone it in, and they were like, if we're going to do this, it's going to look exactly like the Barbie dream house from 1980, whatever. Everything's going to be pink. Everything will be made out of plastic. I love that they did not rely on CGI, that they relied on practical effects, especially the sequence when they're traveling to the real world and back, those sequences with the camper van and the boat and, the bicycle, all of that was all practical effects. They had to create all that, build that, shoot it like they used to do in old school silent movie style. I loved all of that. You could really feel the love from the filmmakers, from the costumers, all the way up. They really, you could just tell how much joy that they put into this production, which I just loved. I loved the music, like you just said. Ryan Gosling singing I'm Just a Ken. That song is great. But his cover of Push by Matchbox 20, had no idea I needed that in my life. But I do, and I did, and I thank him for that. It was just yes. I mean, there were so many high points to this movie. I thought the script was great. Mm-hmm. I thought it was the acting was amazing. I walked away just blown away. I was not expecting that at all. I expected it to be fun, especially when I started seeing some pictures. I expected it to be fun. I knew that there'd be some sort of girl power message, but I was just really, all the praise this movie is getting from critics is very well earned.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Nick, what about you? What is something about the movie that really, really resonated with you?
Oh, there was a lot. I think it's the audience for this film was a lot broader than anticipated. Mm-hmm. And for me, I thought, oh, it's a toy movie. But the benchmark I had for it was, for a toy movie that could be good, was the Lego movie. And this even blew past that, despite having, similar themes to it. She goes on this whole hero's journey. I swear to God, Gerwig must have had a copy of Campbell with her when she was writing the script, because the universe goes out of balance, and she consults the shaman, who's weird Barbie up on the hill,
which
And
was
Kate
perfect.
McKinnon is amazing.
I love Kate McKinnon. She just throws herself into anything. She was wonderful with this.
Perfect casting.
She
Mhm.
goes out into the real world and causes another complication that she has to then later change, another part of the hero's journey. And it just, that part was great. Amy, you mentioned the practical effect aspect. Apparently, one of the things that Greta Gerwig likes to do are those big painted backdrops and she refers to them as authentically artificial.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of an oxymoron. I would prefer theatrical, but she lists the number of musicals she gets things from, and I'm listening to her talk and thinking, damn girl, you're deep on the movie history here. Excellent. And musicals aren't even my main jam here, but it's clearly she knows what she's doing. And as an Angelino, I have to tell you, that whole office suite thing with Will Ferrell and the other men running Mattel was hilarious because of how impossible that painting out the window is. And I love
I was thinking the same thing.
When they switch it around after the end, when Barbie has decided how she's going to go on her journey, Gloria and her family take her to a real intersection, Wilshire and where it meets the Pacific Coast in Santa Monica, going into a real building. Whether or not there's a gynecologist's office in that, I have no idea, but there probably is. But yeah, that's then we're into the real things. Unlike Oppenheimer, I love the fact this movie took some time to breathe. There's that wonderful scene where we first meet Rhea Perlman that's very peaceful. There's
that wonderful scene on the bench.
Yes, that's where I was going. Where that was the one that affected me the most, where she meets this old lady and you think she's going to say something dumbass, and she just says, "You're beautiful." And the old lady says, "Yeah, I am."
I know it.
Yeah,
right here.
Well, thank you.
My understanding is from Greta, an interview I saw with her. She was like, they went to film that scene, and I guess some of the higher ups were there that day or whatever, and they were worried about cost and all that kind of stuff, and they were like, "Do we need this scene? This seems kind of like why this is kind of a nothing scene." And Greta just stood her ground. She said, "This scene is the movie. If this scene's not in the movie, then this whole movie doesn't work." And it's moments like that. I mean, she stands up for that kind of thing, and I think that's representative of what she was trying to accomplish here. It's not just for the pretty girls. Although one of my favorite moments is when Barbie says that she's at her lowest point, and she says, I'm not me anymore, I'm ugly. And then you get that wonderful voiceover that says, like,
yes,
the filmmakers want to comment that casting Margot Robbie is probably not best to make this point.
Yes.
Something to
that
effect.
They acknowledged that. That is great. You're like, okay, yeah, we get it. Don't come at us. We get it.
For people who think you should not have voiceovers in movies,
Helen Mirren.
They should listen to what they do with Helen Mirren here, because it is so smart and funny.
It absolutely is. Absolutely is. Mike, what about you? What's other things about the movie that you liked?
Well, the empowerment was just wonderful throughout this. The story, the journey that Barbie went on, and it was wonderful, from her discovering that she actually has to drink stuff and have liquid go into her mouth, and it was awesome. It was just neat to see the character grow right in front of you, and Margot Robbie was fantastic in that role.
He continues to impress the hell out of me. I am of the opinion now that she's really one of our generation's best right now. I don't know if there's anything she can't do.
No, probably. But it was interesting to see, also, Ken, on the other hand, who was in love with Barbie the whole time and just wanted her attention. And when he wasn't getting it, basically reverting to all the ugliness of what mankind, of male kind, I should say, and how quickly him coming back just over a day or so was able to, revert Barbie Land into whatever land Ken was going to call it.
Kendom.
And
Kendom, yes.
And it was really, really interesting with that.
With his
And
Mojo Dojo Casa House.
I think one of the best
selling
things in the world was that they didn't end up together. I thought that was brilliant and everything. I didn't think they needed to be.
No,
and,
I mean, they got to leave that open for the Ken movie. I mean, really, look, Ken needs to go on his journey, right? Like, he needs to find out who he is. I think it was really cool to acknowledge at the beginning that Ken was created as an accessory. Like, he's not his own. No. He's not his own being. He's not his own doll. He's not there's no line of Kens. Like, and the Barbies completely take them for granted. It's very much like compared to real world, is very much like the opposite, right? But the fact that there's one point where someone goes, I think the girl, I can't remember her name, but the girl asks Barbie, like, where do the Kens live? And she's like, Barbie's like, I have no idea. Like, they just what I know. They're just like, they don't have a thing. They don't have, like, they just, yeah. And at the end, like, Barbie apologizes to Ken, like, I am really sorry about all that. Like, she had no idea. She had no idea, despite the fact that Ken did what he did, and he, but it wasn't without reason. And unfortunately, it just reflected what he was seeing in the real world, which was one other thing I wanted to point out too, because I love all of that. But I think what I really love most about the movie is that I give credit to Greta and everybody for writing the script and everything. Thank you, Mattel, for agreeing to do this and not saying, oh, that makes us look bad. Like, everything about the office of Mattel looks horrible. Will Ferrell is on fire as the C. Like, he is great. I always love Will Ferrell used in moderation, and here he's used so excellently. And yet it makes Mattel look like idiots, hypocritical idiots. And yet the company is like, yes, please do that, and we'll pay you for it. Like, I'm glad they took the chance and they didn't mind a little bit of self-effacing nonsense, because it works in the movie, and I think it's important. The movie doesn't work as much without it.
I do want to make one point, Michael. I thought about this. Ken and Barbie don't ever end up the way they do in the toy world in Barbie Land, because of course the logic of the toy line is for preteen girls, so their relationship has to be chaste. You can't bring more biological realities into things. At least in the way that it's marketed by the company. So, you have this guy, he's handsome, he's nice to look at, he's going to go beach, in their beautiful, perfect, all the time sunny world. But at nighttime,
have a beach off.
I gotta have a beach off, but at nighttime, it's a party just for the Barbies.
Yep.
With President Barbie and Journalist Barbie.
Yeah, because the Kens are just going to go wherever they need to. They get shoved in the toy box.
Yeah,
for the night, right?
And of course, so what really the real agent of change here for Ken isn't simply how Barbie's treating him, but when he gets to the real world and he sees, wait, there's a world where men run things.
Exactly.
Oh, give me more of that. And I get horses and big cars. I was kind of concerned that they were just going to have farm Ken off to a horse farm somewhere, because that's really what he was mostly in love with. But I am glad they ended up the way they worked it out the way they did.
How did you feel about Ken's story? And I know his song rocks, but and of course that T-shirt, I am Kenough, right? Like,
right, I am Kenough. Well, I wore pink to the movie theater, but today I am wearing blue to rep Ken.
Oh, okay.
I loved his story. The whole story with Barbie and with America Ferrera's character Gloria. I certainly, a lot of that story, it resonated with me, but it was Ken's story that I found that was the captivating story for me. To see him struggle with who he is and what does that mean to figure out who he is. I loved all that. I thought that's a story that I don't feel like I have seen very much of, portrayed in a way that, even though it's a comedy, it was a very honest portrayal. Mm-hmm. He was the one that was marginalized. He was the one that was ignored, or, was basically a ghost, and he was just an accessory. And to see that story flipped was really interesting. And Ryan Gosling, I really feel like all the talk about awards, I think, is warranted. He brought heart. You could see the pain. You could see when he was joyful. I loved the innocence about him, especially in the beginning. I loved his journey. I thought that was great, and I am looking forward to that next movie. I think the one thing that I would change about this movie is if we could have seen that moment at the very end with all the Kens together saying, "Hey, let's figure out who we are." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Ryan Gosling's Ken already knew that he was into horses. He'd already discovered that about himself. So let's see where that leads, and maybe another Ken would have been into, several of them were wearing outfits like they were playing tennis in 1987. Maybe somebody was into tennis or whatever. I would have liked just to have that moment with the Kens, because I do think that the story was about Ken as much as it was about Barbie. So yeah, I loved his journey. I loved his story.
And we should also take a moment to praise Ken and Ken and Ken and Ken, and not just Ken.
Right, yeah, you're so right. Especially Ken. I mean, he was amazing. Yeah. Love Ken.
You've got Sima. I'm going to get the name wrong.
Simu
Liu.
Yeah,
he was amazing. I loved him
as primary antagonist Ken.
Yeah.
Kingsley Ben-Adir, who I've mostly seen as a villain on Secret Wars. The future Doctor Who Ken.
I was about to say Shruti Gachman was there.
And you've got John Cena as Mermaid Ken. and
I didn't see him.
Oh, you did not exist for you. Okay. And then Alan, who's the only one that can see through the Ken's BS.
I gotta ask you right now, because you played with Barbie. I mean, I knew about Barbie. My sister had Barbies, et cetera, et cetera. So I knew some of the thing. I couldn't even guess at half of the Easter eggs that are in this. Some of them, of course, in our face, like Alan, Teen Talk Barbie. I
love Skipper with the growing boobs.
The Teen Talk Barbie is the one with the camera like in her chest, right? Is that the one?
Right.
Sugar Daddy Ken. Like there's just ones that and all the costumes and all the play sets and everything like that. Did anything in the movie like just resonate you like with you as far as that perspective? Like, oh my God, I had that outfit, or oh my God, I had that.
I wish. I did have Malibu Barbie and I had Malibu Ken, and I coveted all the other things. And I just had a couple of outfits and just a couple of accessories. I think truthfully, my mom was kind of ambivalent about Barbie. Mm-hmm. And what kind of message she sent. So she didn't really encourage that. But yes, there were definitely things in this movie I wanted to see. I mean, one of the things with Barbie is the accessories. I wanted to see the dog, and we got the pooping dog.
Of course,
just to see like her house and the refrigerator. These were things that I remember from being little. But the number one thing I needed and I got was the Corvette, the convertible, the Barbie convertible. And we had it in different colors. I would buy one today for me right now. Can I have a grown-up size one? Yes, that is exactly what I wanted to see.
Which one was all right, there was which was it? Midge? Was Midge the pregnant one?
Yeah.
Just the pregnant one. I was happy to see her. She was a fun little Easter egg.
I mean,
she'd be in the background and she just waved.
She'd be in the background. She'd just show up, and then like there's that one scene towards the end where Will Ferrell just walks by her and he's like, Midge, I thought we discontinued you. He just goes on, and he just walks on. And, like, oh man, he was on fire. And then you got Skipper. Growing up, Skipper.
Barbie, which is she's not canon, but if you didn't have one, you know somebody who did. You know, the one where you cut her hair and you drew on her face, and you know, I know most people who had a brother that would decapitate the Barbie. I'm kind of happy that we didn't have, you know, arms and legs being torn off. And you know, a lot of households had that Barbie that was pretty weird.
One of my favorite throwaways, I don't think it's a throwaway scene, perhaps. My favorite little random scenes is when America Ferrera's Gloria says, I had a weird Barbie, and Kate McKinnon just joins in, yeah, you did.
Yeah, you did.
She knows.
Oh
yeah, you did.
So Amy, you talk about your mother being somewhat ambivalent about Barbie. One of the things I loved about the movie was the intergenerational nature of Gloria and Sasha's relationship to Barbie, because of course Sasha is right now at the age where she's rebelling against pretty much everything, you know, and so she's going to make a feminist stand against Barbie, but
going to make her cry.
Yeah,
and she does.
Gloria works there and remembers it, and I remember watching the meditation scenes stereotypical Barbie is having to find out who she needs to talk to, and we never see the other person. But I thought to myself, I'll bet that's her mother. And then you see it, not only is it her mother, it's the you know, not quite secretary we've already met, America Ferrera. Okay, now we're going to bring that all around, and they do have that whole mother-daughter thing going on. I want to ask a question of you guys, and it's a criticism I keep hearing about this movie from smarty pants people. America Ferrera has this wonderful speech about the inherent contradictions of modern American womanhood. And I've seen a lot of people say, oh, it's too obvious. It reads like a seminar. What do you guys think? Because I have thoughts.
Well, for me, that's the speech I was expecting. When I heard that there was going to be a Barbie movie, I knew that speech was going to happen. But what was interesting to me is, you know, I saw it on Sunday, and I already knew a whole bunch of people had already seen it by that point. And I was asking them, you know, what did you think? And they were all like, oh my God, that speech. There was something about the way that speech was done and that moment with America Ferrera that was, I know a lot of women who felt seen in that moment. Even though we knew it was coming, there was something about the way that was done that it was like, yes, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was well done. I also like the fact that not only was it a motivational speech, a speech that sort of had to happen, you know, in the movie, but also that it was used, parts of it were used as a plot device to unbrainwash the other Barbies. I thought that was clever. And I thought America delivered it perfectly. I mean, as far as, you know, I knew that, you know, when I'm watching it, of course I know that, you know, there's going to be those people that are going to look at this and be like, oh, that's what I expected from this movie, blah, 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 whatever. It's like, if you're going to a Barbie movie and you don't think it's going to be empowering for women, I don't, you know, that's just going to be ingrained in the movie itself. Like the dolls are ingrained, like that's the thing, right? So yeah, so I thought it was delivered really well. As a matter of fact, I think I might have seen America in other things, but man, she really impressed me too. I thought her role was not an easy one, and I thought she did a really incredible job in this. Almost stole the movie away from Barbie, which is kind of difficult to do. What do you think, Mike?
Oh, I thought her character was great. I thought it was nice to have her almost be the anchor to the real world. And I liked what they did with her. I liked how she was the one who when they went back to Barbie Land, that she was able to snap the hypnotized Barbies out. And I loved the scenes, and I loved, that she was like, no, you're not the, was able to give the pep speech to Barbie to, don't just lay there, just, you can get up, you can do this. And it was very inspiring. And I liked that about her. And I liked how the daughter was able to see the light and come around too, because she was a jaded teenage biatch. And it was neat to see her conversion of it. And, I loved the scene. It was fun having the Indigo Girls the first time, Closer I Am to Fine. But then when you had it with all of them singing in the car together on the way back into Barbie Land, it was awesome. And then them slowly like, wait a minute, what happened to my town? And everything. And that was it was perfect.
I thought the mother and daughter singing it at the end was really special too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
but
the thing with that speech,
yeah,
what
go
I
ahead,
say,
Nick. I was just about to ask you that.
The people who say, "Oh, it's so obvious," I would say, "Well, that speech was not for you."
No, it was not.
That speech was for the girls in the audience and the dads that brought them. It's for the people that need to hear that.
Right.
Yeah,
may not have actually put that all together previous.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably for the guys, the people who are not willing to listen to it anyway.
That's tragic, but true. But some will. Some will, and some will hear it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know that there's a lot of stuff in here that's probably like, I've heard that criticism about this movie that it's to this, that, or the other. But usually it's from people who are, look, I'm pretty insecure as a person, but I'm pretty comfortable in my man skin, and also to know that, like, hey, women have issues and they have just as much of a right to talk about them and deal with them on screen as men do. So let it happen. And if they do that, then as a guy, I can understand it better, like I can understand things better if I'm hearing it or seeing it like this.
And plugging into the biggest theme of this movie, this whole movie is about the collision of fantasy with reality. And Barbie has been trying to be about female empowerment, the line of toys. Do they get it right all the time? Oh God, no. No one could. And I want Amy to stop me right now if I'm mansplaining feminism to anybody.
I'll do it. I'll stop you if I need to.
Stop me. But Barbie Land is a wonderful paradise. It's more of a paradise than Themyscira Paradise Island is for the Amazons. But when it collides with the real world, you're going to get friction.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I don't disagree with that at all.
And I think we see that, and it's a perfect way to show that, I think, in this. I think it's really smart. I think it's really well done. I would not be surprised, like we said, Ryan is probably going to be up for some awards. I hope that Greta gets a nod for best director. If she doesn't, that's a outrage. I would even, they got to put 10 up there. So I would hope that this would be a best picture candidate as well.
You don't think so?
You don't think so?
No.
Or you don't want it to be?
No, I don't think it will be.
Well, also keep in mind that a lot of Oscar nominated movies are going to be bumped to next year after Oscar season. So this has a better chance than it would have a normal year. So, but
I think it'll be nominated for best screenplay for sure.
Very much so.
Absolutely. I would love to see it in the best picture category. It's one of those movies that has really stuck with me, where I could, the more I think about it, I'm still thinking about it, 24 hours later, I'm still thinking, I'm still ruminating. It's really stuck with me. So yeah, I would love to see it get nominated for some things.
And talking to you guys, I would love to see America Ferrera in his best supporting nomination.
Nice. Yeah. I would also, I wouldn't mind, if they're looking for best supporting actress, Kate McKinnon or even Rhea Perlman. Like that. I mean, to use Rhea Perlman as Ruth Handler, what amazing thing for that to throw in there. Like that was just, I did not expect that. And I don't know why, but it really made me emotional. I think it was, and because it was Rhea playing her too, not just the idea of the creator, but the fact that Rhea was playing her, just, it's been a while since I've seen her on the big screen like that in a significant role.
I thought she nailed it.
Yeah,
she had the sweetness, that creator, the benevolence, the love she had for her creation, even in hearing how it was, Barbie is such an interesting litmus test and what you see in Barbie. And she's aware of that. She's aware of the contradictions, but she still loves her creation and she wants what's best for her creation. At the very, very end, when she's talking to Barbie about when Barbie's asking if she can be human, and she's saying, I don't control you. You get to do what you want. But and again, that delivery as an actress, she's like, you get to do what you want. I mean, there was no cynicism, there was no sarcasm. It's just, I can't wait to see what you choose to do. And it was just an amazing performance.
She was one of the reasons when one of my younger cousins said, I was surprised how emotional Barbie made me. I responded with, I'm surprised how emotional Barbie made me.
So on that note, as we start to wrap things up, this is a phenomenon. I think we've established it was a success, at least the first weekend. I think it's got, it could be one of the biggest movies of the summer, if not the biggest movie.
Go ahead and say it. You think this doll has legs?
I think I already used that joke.
Okay.
So I don't want to run that one to the ground. But I will say, we kind of already talked about Ken having his own movie. Mattel and Warner Brothers aren't stupid. They want more where this came from, right? Do you want to see more Barbie? And if so, Nick, we'll start with you. Do you want to see more Barbie? And if so, what kind? What do you want to see?
I would be very. I don't know. You can hit that home run twice or have a lightning strike in quite the same way again, or whatever mixed metaphor you choose to use. I'm worried that Mattel is looking at this like, we can be an IP property now doing stuff like, I'd have to see who was attached to it. What was that line in Free Guy? Sequels always suck.
Well, that's not always true.
But you know it sometimes is true though.
Yeah, I do. And don't even get me started on prequels. Amy, what about you? Do you want to see more from Barbie Land?
I think I would be willing to see more if they could take the same amount of time and attention and focus on a sequel. And I'm not really sure how to do that with Barbie. And I think it would have to be with Ken, for Ken to figure out who he is. Alan, God love Alan. Hashtag free Alan. He's trying to get out. Let's help him.
Michael Cera just has that. I mean, he's perfectly cast too, because he's always just got that look like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Help me.
Michael Cera.
I was like, wait, you're turning around? No, don't go back.
He's no Scott Pilgrim in this, that's for sure.
But I just feel like other than that, I mean, I think that's a really high bar to try to do a sequel to this. Really kind of feels like a cash grab. So if they could find a good story to tell, sure. I mean, I'd be all for going back to Barbie Land or the Kingdom or whatever. Yeah, I would love that, but I want it to be a good story. I wouldn't just automatically show up to
sure.
I want it to be good.
Sure, absolutely. Mike, do you want more?
If they do it right, I think they could definitely. It depends on if Greta's attached to the project again, or it just all depends what they do. I just don't want to see them get greedy and start, going to San Diego next year and putting up the sign coming in 2024, Ken, coming up, then Barbie 2, Barbie 3, Barbie, I just don't want to see them oversaturate it. This was great. This was the right movie at the right time. And I think this is awesome. If I had a daughter, I probably would have taken her the first night. And you know what? All the power to it. And I hope, they can come up with something really awesome for a sequel. What they're going to do, I don't know. But it's going to be very, I want to see a movie starring Weird Barbie, so I think it'd be cool.
The saga of Weird Barbie. I think it's possible. I mean, look, I think, toys, that's what I've always said about the Toy Story movies. I know a lot of people are like, oh, do we need another one? Toys last a long time. They can last decades and centuries, even. Like, why not tell those stories using these characters? And I think Barbie is definitely something that can be now, yes, do I want to, obviously I don't want it to suck. Like, hey, let's bring in some more Barbie stuff and let's have it suck. That's not what I want at all. Nobody wants that. And like I said, I do think that Warner Brothers and Mattel are looking at, I mean, I know that they're already talking about bringing a lot of other toys to life to the big screen. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe it'll be some sort of, I don't know, crossover thing with Barbie. Ken and G.I. Joe. Come on, let's make that happen.
That would be a lot of fun, actually. I would watch that.
See? So I think that there's a lot of potential, a lot of possibilities that could be done here. So I am up for more as well. I mean, Greta would be great to have spearhead it if she would so desires. Obviously, Margot as well. Even if we don't tell, that's the beauty of this. Even if we don't tell her like stereotypical Barbie's story anymore, like that might be done in the real world. But you can, you've always got a stereotypical Barbie in Barbie Land. Like there's always going to be one, right? So she could be playing another kind of Barbie. I don't know. But I do give her credit too, because she took this movie, co-produced it, was there every step of the way on promoting it. I mean, I love the fact that like at every different premiere in every city, she wore a different Barbie outfit. I mean, she really like cosplayed as Barbie like all the time on the red carpet, did such a great job. And I think, they brought something really great to the screen here. And I hope that there's more to come from them as well. So that's, I think, all we've got to say about Barbie for now anyway, but we're going to take a quick break and we've got someone else, good friend of ours, Felicity, is going to join us, and she's got some thoughts about the Barbie movie as well. She's something of an expert, I think.
Oh, yes,
so we're going to hear from her and then we're going to come back and close out the show.
All right, YouTube folks, this is your section. This is where we get to have some fun with you guys.
Yeah, you don't get to hear Felicity.
Oh, I know. They don't get to hear Felicity, sadly enough. Because she didn't record a video. She just did audio. So check it out on the podcast feed. Want to throw at you guys. Mike, you started bringing it up. Other toy movies, they've tried playing around. They did G.I. Joes. They've done Transformers. Look at how popular Mario was earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
And what other films or projects would you like to see come to life? And this is open to everybody when we talk about this, and especially from our childhood. I know there was a Candyland movie in the works at one time.
There was, yeah.
There was also a Chutes and Ladders game, and we also did get Clue. So years ago,
got Clue, yeah.
So
I know that they've talked about Hot Wheels.
Yes,
bringing Hot Wheels into things. Of course,
that's the next Fast and Furious movies.
Of course, the Masters of the Universe has been done with. I don't know where they can go more with that.
Don't tell Kevin Smith that he's just announced that the voice actors for season 2.
Oh, goodness gracious! And he's producing that too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So as long as they're better than what was that Battleship movie?
Oh God.
I mean, look, anything. I think Barbie shows that anything that's done smart, and we didn't mention it on the show, but I do have to also give them credit. It's one thing to make fun of something, and it's another thing to honor it at the same time. That's not easy to do. We've seen a lot of franchises like Brady Bunch or whatever, and they come back and they make fun of them because they're easy to poke fun of. But to actually stay true to and honor them so that people who loved them as a kid, who loved them in their past, who became fans of this thing, still find that element of it. I mean, that's not easy to do, and it takes a certain kind of someone to do it. And I would hope that anything that's done from any of these companies, but I think to answer your question, I think Hot Wheels makes the most sense of something to do. That's a big toy line that you should be able to do something with.
That's true. Very, very much so. Any of you guys? Anyone?
I'm just thinking about the movies that I have really enjoyed, like the Lego movie. I thought was brilliant because it sounded like a kid who was playing with Legos. It sounded like how I would have been. And Lego Batman is, I think, one of my favorite versions of Batman. Again, I thought that the humor was great, the comedy was on point. The things they made fun of were the things to make fun of, the things that they honored were the things to honor. So I'm okay with a lot of things as long as they honor the source material. They understand that we as fans don't want to be made fun of, if that makes sense. Like so many of these movies, like you mentioned, Battleship, just seem like we're going to write a script, we're going to make a lot of money, it's going to be fine. And I think as the person who's paying a ticket to go to these movies, I mean, I want to be entertained, but this is something that's important to me from my childhood. And that's one of the things that was really nice about Barbie. Barbie was not the joke, and it could have been very easy to write a script where Barbie was the joke, Ken was the joke. So I am definitely open and excited to a lot of different things, even if they want to remake things. Clue was one of my favorite board games as a kid. So if they wanted to do another Clue movie, I think that would be a lot of fun. Hot Wheels, basically almost like a kid version of Fast and Furious. I mean, I think that could be a lot of fun, but it's kind of like the sequel to Barbie. I want it to be done well.
Well, exactly.
I'm greedy. Do it well, and I'm there. I'll pay the money.
And that's what you hope for. That's really what you hope for when any kind of project, anybody could put out a project as long as it's good. That's the big thing. And
I thought the tone also for a Barbie movie that made fun of it, but in a fun way that respected the franchise. I thought that kind of started with the Toy Story movies. The way that Barbie and Ken were used in the Toy Story 2, 3. I thought that really was fun. Ken almost stole the show in the third one. Barbie was kind of fun when she was finally introduced in the second one. And I thought that to me was like, okay, that's a template going forward with how you can make a really good Barbie movie. And they took it and ran with it as far as I'm concerned with this.
Right.
For myself, I would note that Barbie has a long 60-year history as an important, it's odd to say this, but an important toy. Lego has an insanely huge fan base for being able to do all sorts of multiple things for being what it is. I'm not sure what other property compete with either one of these on the one hand, maybe Hot Wheels. And then to get something that is well scripted and emotionally affecting as well. And the other feature of the Barbie movie is it's ferociously intelligent. Hot Wheels, they're fun, but I'm not sure they mean to boys the same thing Barbie has meant to American girlhood. We'll see. Time will tell. Certainly Mattel is open to this sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
They've publicly said this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think it could be interesting. It really, really could. And, you also want, you don't want some of those lesser named toys and such. You don't want the Fisher Price, parking garage movie or, stuff like that, or you don't want, items like that. But it would be interesting, like something like Rock'em Sock'em Robots or something could be a good movie, and there could be storylines there.
It would be a challenge. Let's put it that way.
I'm not saying
it can't be done. I'm saying it would be a challenge.
A challenge accepted. No. So I think it could definitely be fun. And there's all these different ones that they can do, but I definitely think there's a whole world of characters in the Barbie universe that they can continue with. And I think with the right crew and everything, and sadly enough, Greta's not going to be available to work on, and not because of the strike or anything, but she was hired to do the next round of Narnia. She's going to be running Narnia
for Netflix.
For Netflix.
Well, right now, she's attached to a Netflix Narnia film. We all know how unstable some of these things can be.
Correct. So it would be interesting to see where it goes with it, though. So I'd be interested with it. So I think there's some great stuff going on with that, and I'm ready for all that kind of stuff. As kids, we had the Miko figures, and we had but those were all commercial license stuff, like the superheroes, or we also had Star Trek, and the type of stuff. So it was just interesting to think, and I think I couldn't see them doing like a Monopoly movie, having all the CEOs of the motion picture industries just sitting around the table or something.
I'm telling you right now, if there's going to be a Monopoly movie, you've got to figure out a way to fit Will Ferrell in there. I mean, I'm not the biggest Will Ferrell fan, but yet, like, I just felt like in this one, as a corporate bigwig, he was used so well that I think in a Monopoly type movie with big wigs and all that kind of stuff, I think he could be hilarious.
And they didn't even explain why he had the drumsticks in the when they first introduced
pink drumsticks.
Pink drumsticks at that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I was just like, whoa, okay there. So it was interesting. YouTube folks at home, what did you guys think? Definitely would love to hear from you guys. Please drop us a line. We definitely would love to hear from you, or leave a message underneath. If you put something interesting, we'll actually talk about it on the air in our next episodes. So it should be kind of cool. All right, let's go wrap this one up. So that's going to wrap up another episode of the Earth Station One podcast. I want to thank our guests for being here. Nick, thank you so much, sir. Anything?
You're welcome.
People on the podcast can't hear the wave. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I'm waving like Ken.
Okay.
Bye, Ken.
Bye,
Bye,
Ken.
Ken.
Bye, Ken.
Bye,
Well,
Nick.
What's up?
What's
I
up?
can tell you right now, Futurama's back, baby.
Yay.
The newest Futurama episodes come out tonight. That's my thing.
That's awesome. Yes, just started up and started with a bang, which is going to be cool. That's all I could tell you. I don't want to say anything else. Spoilers. That's right. Amy, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Anything you want to shout out about?
Oh, I am so enjoying so much TV right now. I'm loving Strange New Worlds. This season has just made me so happy in so many ways.
Did you watch the crossover one yet?
Yes.
That was awesome.
Oh, it was so much fun. Yeah, so enjoying this.
And we're getting a musical.
Yes. I'm already sad. The season isn't even over yet, and I'm already sad. I already miss it. I'm really looking forward to the new season of Good Omens that's about to come out.
Yep.
What We Do in the Shadows just came back out. Right now, Secret Invasion. I'm enjoying that. Right now, it's great TV time.
It's tons of fun, and yes, the strike sucks. Yes, it's going to be bad 3 months from now when there's no new stuff for us to watch. But the good thing about streaming, or if you have different cable services and such, there's so much archives of great stuff to get caught up on, and that's
provided they're still there. and they don't get yanked. You should do a whole episode just on that.
What,
It's possible.
Yanking off? No.
Yeah, well, I'll leave your titling it to you, but you know the problems of which I speak.
I
Yes.
do know what you speak, my friend. I totally know. But yes, but even with, there's some amazing stuff. So pretty awesome. And Mr. Mike Gordon, we've made it through another one, my friend.
We did, and as always, it's my pleasure.
Anything you want to shout out about, sir?
Absolutely. I know how you love me promoting other podcasts on this show, but there's one that I wanted to make a note of and give a shout out to because I really appreciate her as an actress and as a person, and that is Katee Sackhoff, who she played Starbuck in Battlestar Galactica. She was in Longmire. She's been in tons of other shows. She started her own podcast, and I always thought that she had the makings of a pretty good podcast person from various interviews and things I've seen from her. And she finally started her own podcast. It's available on YouTube. It's available on audio as well. It's called Blah 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 with Katee Sackhoff. And her second episode, she interviews Bryce Dallas Howard, which is another woman figure that I really admire, but I don't know much about. And so they talk for an hour and a half, and it is an amazingly frank discussion. And I encourage everybody who's interested in either personality or even just in a good conversation to check it out. And she's not only got about a handful of episodes out so far. So if you're looking for something to grab onto right from the beginning, check out Blah 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 with Katee Sackhoff.
That is awesome. Katee is an amazing talent, and she's just a great overall person. So it's pretty cool. Definitely check it out, my friends. Amy kind of stole my thunder a little bit with what my shout out was going to be. I was going to shout out that What We Do in the Shadows is back, my friends. And they had the fourth episode's out already, and it is amazing. And they pick up right off where they left off with, and it is a ton of fun. Some of the most dysfunctional vampires you're ever going to meet. It doesn't hurt that they're from Staten Island to top it off. So it is a ton of fun. And every week you just like, okay, they did this. Now what are they going to do? And each week it's just craziness. And I don't want to ruin any of the plots for this season because there's some interesting dynamic changes in the house, and that's all I want to say with it. But it's a ton of fun, and you know what? Check it out if you can. It's up on Hulu, and it's also up on FX if you get the chance. All right, that's going to wrap up the episode for tonight. Thanks for listening to the Earth Station One podcast. Always remember, we could not do this without you folks. If you want to help support the podcast, please check out our Tee-Public store and get some really cool ESO Network swag. Also remember, if you want to listen to our show before the rest of the world, that's right, we come out at least a day or two before, exclusively for our patrons. That's right, folks. You too can join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And you know what? It's a great way to help support us, helps keep the lights on in the station, and, hosting and, new equipment, all that kind of fun stuff. And it's really awesome that, we have so many fun folks up there. And thank you folks so much. All you have to do is go to patreon.com/ESO Network. We want to hear from you. So please write us anytime at feedback@earthstation1.com. Remember, you could also find Earth Station One wherever fine podcasts are found. So please tell your friends and tell your neighbors about us. We would really appreciate if you subscribe or at least leave a review. That's how people find us. And if you are up on YouTube and watching us, thank you for making it this far into the video. Our numbers would love you for that. Our stats would love you for that. And you know what? It's always great if you do. And if you've made it this far, like and subscribe, and click the little thumbs up and also the star. So that way, if you get a chance, we come to you twice a week. You will get an email notification saying, hey, Earth Station One released another episode. Yes, we're doing these 2 times a week. Oh boy. So this is always the fun part of the show. Please subscribe and tell all your friends about us, folks. On behalf of myself, Mike Faber, of course, Mr. Michael Gordon, Nick Fraser, and Ms. Amy Chandler, thank you so much. And as always, we'd like to say, hi, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
I can.
You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.